What is the scariest movie of 2025? We're 2/3 of the way through this year already, and so far, we've gotten a good amount of horror films, including the critically acclaimed Weapons, which I watched last week. In my opinion, I think the movie is surprisingly tame when it comes to the horror elements. There's about a 20-minute chunk in the middle of Weapons with virtually no horror at all. However, the trailers made it out like this was going to be a horrifying experience at the movies. Now, yes, of course, there are some very creepy scenes in Weapons, and a good amount of jump scares that get ya. I don't think I'd consider Weapons that scary, though, especially when you factor in the comedy moments as well. Then there's the Dave Franco, Alison Brie horror movie Together. So I actually had the opposite experience with Together compared to Weapons. I went in thinking Together was going to be more of a comedic horror with minimum jump scares. But no, this is very much a horror movie through and through. I'll admit, Together scared me a decent amount. At times, it's intense, the scares are great, and the overall vibe of Together is just freaky. You can't predict when it's going to scare you next. There was also Bring Her Back. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the movie yet, but really want to. I'm a big fan of Talk to Me, which comes from the same directors. The Monkey, Until Dawn, Hard Eyes, and Final Destination Bloodlines come to mind too when thinking about this year's horror flicks. A few other 2025 horror movies to mention include 28 Years Later, Sinners, Wolfman, and Companion. In my opinion though, none of those are actually scary. Like, at all. I'm pretty surprised Companion is even considered a horror movie, to be honest. Great film, just not scary one bit. Anyway, if it were up to me, I'd pick Together as the scariest movie of 2025 thus far. But I'm curious what you think is the scariest. Let me know in the comments.